Before I get started with the review, I should really let you know that there's going to be some triggering events in this film that may trigger you or friends and family that you know you're watching this with. It's spooky month and you want to watch a horror film and it's kind of folklore, British folklore. You're going into this going, yeah, this is going to be one of those cool films. But the subject matters that it handles, there is like suicide or wanting to do suicide, there's self-harm, there is overdose, there are drugs. Like it kind of, within the first 10-15 minutes of this film, it kind of captures all of that. And I think there is a warning note even on the Hulu film right at the end. So bearing that in mind, let's jump into the review. Afflicted with a mysterious disease after surviving an overdose, a woman returns to her childhood home to confront her personal demons, but instead discovers a real one. There's been some really interesting folklore movies that you don't really know that are folklore. You're trying to figure out what folklore they come from. This is definitely one of those. It's also a slow burn, but what's going to make it creepy or make it so that you want to continue watching the film is the mystery that's in here. You're trying to figure out what's actually happening with the movie. And then you get the way the film uses the score or lack of score or sound effects. So at times, even the opening of the film, you'll see that it's just like silent until it's not. And then there are other times where there's this creepy sound effect. You can't tell whether it's a whale sound in the background with a baby crying. They use it minimalistic, but it comes into the score now and again and it kind of creeps you out because you don't know why it's there. It's a very clever use of using a score. And then sometimes they have no score. And that has always been a clever and brave thing. You can always tell a filmmaker that knows what they're making, yeah, every part of the way. When it comes down to the editing, they're in the editing booth going, yeah, let's be brave enough not to put any score here. Let's just allow the actors and what's shown on screen to carry the film. And you get a lot of that. However, going back to the slowness of the film, it spends a good hour of the movie building up to the mystery and any really real horror. There are moments where you're just like, well, what is that? That's a weird thing. There are things that you're trying to figure out what's happening within the mystery. And then within the last half an hour, as the lore of the folklore of what's going on in this quaint English town, and you know it's not quite right and people start bleeding black blood, there are things that you're like, wow, this is really gross. And that's probably the scariest thing, the grossest thing about this film, that is, it is gross. There are shots that make you go, oh, okay. Ooh, that's nasty. It's not really scary, but it is making your eyes stick to the screen going, ugh, or then turn away because what you're seeing is gross. I don't think it's going to give you nightmares if you're easily affected, but it will make you think going, what did I just watch? It's an interesting one-time watch, and I think our protagonist carries the film. I think the mother is the matriarch, and she also, as an actress, carries the film a lot of the time. Whenever she's on screen, she gives you the creeps, and I think that is her purpose. You'd never quite trust anybody in this town, and I think for good reason. It has a nice finality to it, a fruition from where it starts coming full circle. I like that about it, but I would have liked a different ending. I'm not sure how I sit on it as a whole, but as a one-time watch, I think it's worth a go. I think it's better than some of the other Hulu original horrors that they've bought and made it their own. Let me know if you're going to check this out. What would you rank it? I'm going to give this 3.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
That was the plan, to give you a boner.
I think it's a fairly decent, skillfully made film, but it's not really that horrific. It's just gross. Let me know your thoughts about this down below. Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.